Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. Casting on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night with BMR. Whoa, what's going on there? The music played again for some reason. I don't know. I also seem to lose my background. I got to get it together here. There we go. How's everybody tonight? It's late night. It's BMR. I got Brandi with me, Monica, and Krista. Well, they're on vacation or wherever they're at. But all that's important, you guys are here from midnight, 11 Central, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Late Night. We have another great show in store for you tonight. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Texas Front Porch found on YouTube. You can subscribe also to Donnie Cho Says Stuff, Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, Paranormal Paul, and I think there's someone else. I just can't remember. You know, I'm still under the weather. I still sound a little nasally. I think a little bit better than Tuesday and Thursday, but it's Saturday. It's the weekend, and I can rest after tonight. So thanks for everybody for coming on in. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Turn on your alert bell, everybody. We're on all of our channels across the board. We are on 7 days a week. 7 days a week. Hit the alert bell. Hit it to all. You won't miss a single show. I want to thank everybody for coming in and buying my books. You know, great Christmas. Christmas is around the corner. And you can find these on Amazon. Bigfoot Mr. Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 And book 2, type Bigfoot Mr. Rob in your Amazon browser. Leave a review for those that have bought it. It does help promote sales. It's analytics, just like YouTube, like the YouTube analytics. Hit that like button. It helps promote everything that we do around here. So thank you for all of that. I do appreciate that. If you also enjoy the show, the super chat's open, another great way to help support what we do around here. And you can also become a BMR pirate. Join today, mateys. Join the many, join the few. Well, it depends on your point of view. Thank you so much for that. Thank you ever so much for that. I appreciate it. I'm going to get on with the show. We got a lot of things to cover, a couple cool stories. Me and Brandi are going to kick it. That's right. We're going to kick it. Speaking of Brandi, I'm going to bring it up now. What's up?
Uh, I'm just, I'm listening to you, and you still sound a little bit sick. And,
Yeah.
I haven't been feeling well either. And I'm like, well, how come it's us two that are sick have to do the shows, and the ones that are feeling good are out doing whatever they're
They're all
doing?
gallivanting. Monica said, Rob, I can't make it. I'm at a Christmas party, and I get it. Krista told me she couldn't make it for whatever the reason. I think it's something a little more important, although I
Yes.
don't know. Yeah, I forgot what Chris had going on. Sorry, Krista, if you're listening somewhere in the world.
Well, her daughter's running a 5K in the morning.
Oh,
So,
well, yeah, she needs a rest. So no, hey, I always say
right,
family first. That's why we have 4 people on a late night. You got Brandi, you
right.
got Monica, you got Krista, you got me, of course. And I don't call off sick. I never called off sick on any of my jobs. And this is a fun job, and I like doing it. Much not like going to work someday, on your regular job.
Right.
You don't mind calling in the boss. I was always the boss anyway, so I guess that didn't really matter.
No, 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 it didn't. And the thing is that doing these podcasts when you're sick's a little bit difficult because you have to talk, and
You,
sometimes you're just like, I can't. I'm choking. My nose is running.
you know, you do have to talk, and if I pull one of these and put it on mute, it's because I'm blowing my nose, and I don't want people to see me blowing my nose on the live video telecast podcast. Or if I go on mute, so I'm coughing. So I'm still coughing. I'm sneezing. I had a, I, I go to bed late as it is, as most of you know, and I don't really sleep last several days because at nighttime when I'm going to bed, that's when I just really start coughing big time. I don't know if it's because I'm laying
Right.
down. I don't know. And then I'm sleeping. I slept in a chair last night to maybe elevate my bed. It did not matter, Brandi. It was just coughing and coughing. He had to get up, not to sound gross, but bring up that, congestion,
Yeah. Right. Right.
get it out. And I'm not spitting in a bucket, so I gotta get up, and I've got an area where I can take care of that. But yeah, so if I get 4 hours sleep, I sleep for every 30 minutes, and you're hacking away. I think I'm
Yeah.
getting better. I definitely sound better than I did the other night with Krista, and certainly with Brent and Tex on Thursday. But yeah, I'll be
Hmm.
looking forward to just, tonight getting through an awesome show, and then got nothing to do Sunday, nothing to do Monday,
Right. Well,
and
I do
then that
have to
should
mention
be
this though. I do have to mention this, and I don't know if this happens to other ladies or even men for that matter, that
right.
when you don't feel good, your hair don't feel good. It just won't do right no matter what you do with it. I mean, I tried rebraiding my hair 3 times and it's just not going. I'm like,
Well, from
my
this
hair
angle,
is not
it looks
cooperating.
pretty good from this angle. And you're pretty vivid on the screen. And
Okay, good.
Rye says something here, which another person's left a comment on one of my shows. Rob, put Vicks vapor rub on the bottom of your feet and put on socks and put on your. Yeah, I heard that the other night too, Rye. And well, I heard that this morning going through comments from the other show, and a lot of people suggested that. So tonight before bed, yeah, I will put the Vicks on. I'll try it out. I'll
Right,
try it
right.
out. And
Yeah, I usually put the Vicks on a washcloth and put it on my chest and my. I can't put it directly on my skin, because it just gets irritated. So I just put it on a washcloth and put it right there, and that really helps when I've got all that mess going on.
yeah. Oh, Sinfully says blackberry brandy is great for coughs as well. I got to tell you, Sinfully Wicked, thanks for coming in. I tried me some blackberry brandy about 15, 16 years ago. Let me tell you, Brandy. Now, BMR does not make a secret that I like to pound my beers on occasion. I was drinking some blackberry brandy at a guy's house, and he lived 2 blocks from me. This is back when I was married. Of course, everything happens when I was married, right? No wonder why I'm divorced. But he ended up carrying me home, putting me in my bed. My wife was away on business, and I woke up that day, and I had the scariest. I tell you what, I've had a lot of strange encounters in my life that were kind of scary, but this has to be one of the most scariest things that ever happened to me. I woke up. He did a great job. He carried me, tucked me in. I woke up, covers tucked in nicely. And I woke up, Randy, and I don't know how in the hell I got there, what I did, that my memory banks was wiped blank. Did not know how I got there, what I did that night. My buddy calls me, how you doing, man? I had to take you home. He goes, you crashed into the party table. We were having a party at his house, and I passed out, crashed into this table, and took out the entire food tray. So he says, and I remember that now. He goes, man, and all I can say is this: I must have had too much blackberry brandy, because BMR, I never blacked out. I've never lost memory over drinking. And it wasn't abducted by aliens. It was that blackberry brandy. And I've never touched it since. Never touched it since.
Right. Well, can't stand the taste of it myself, no matter what flavor you give it to me. It's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's why they tell you that you should never be out in the field investigating anything under any type of influence, because I mean, of course, that's going to have some dramatic effects on what you see, what you hear. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do. And Amy, he is an awesome buddy. He found the keys to my house in my pocket, and he put me in. And yeah, that was great. But I gotta say, everybody, that was scary. Never again am I going to do that. Not with that anyway.
Right.
First experience I ever had with that, and I guess it's just a mix with my chemical makeup of my body. I guess so.
Yeah, yeah. There are just some things that I can't drink, like whiskey. If it's brown liquor, I cannot drink it. I
I
just
can't.
can't.
I can't drink brown liquor at all. I mean, I do a shot for my dad on his birthday, because he was a Crown Royal fan, and he's been gone 7-8 years. So every Christmas Eve we do a shot of whiskey, that Crown Royal, and they say it's smooth as hell, but I don't like whiskey. The only shot that I will do, I like clear. I like tequila, a good tequila. Thanks, Josh Castro, for that.
Thank you, Josh.
I like tequila, and I can do vodka, but I'm more of just I'm your basic beer guy. I'll do a shot here and again on the holidays. I stay away from the liquor because I just don't do it. It's just I just don't. But
Sometimes it just goes down a little bit too easy. I get it.
well, the tequila. See, I can drink tequila and I can drink it, but I can drink 3 shots within an hour, and then I'm like, whoa, I better slow up. So yeah, so I temper myself. I watch myself. That's for sure. Especially now that you get older. I found the older I get now, I can't drink as much as I used to. Isn't that weird? I guess it saves a lot of money, though, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. It does save a lot of money. Absolutely.
But you got to remember, owning a bar, I kind of, and this is no excuse, I should know better, and I was a hands-on bar owner, and I would work the bar because I love talking to people. That's just my
Right.
personality. Rob, I'm gonna buy you a shot. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do one. And then, it just gets sometimes I gotta remember, hey man, I'm the owner, the leader. I can't be, but but it happens. It's all good fun, and but I found out, and I let the girls have a couple drinks that were waitresses because you know why? I found out I didn't think it was such a good idea until I found out, especially the men. If they allowed them to have if they bought them a couple drinks and they turned them down, they would leave. It's like these guys think they're to take the barmaids home. They get this, in their head, you know, and they're business women. So, but I did, but the guys would stay as long as the girls stayed.
Well,
I said, as long as you don't get too hammered, girls.
I'm just gonna say is like when back in the day that I did work in an establishment and somebody
Yeah,
would buy me a drink and I was working,
yeah.
I said, "Hey, I'll take a shot with you." I'd have my own little special concoction behind the bar that they would pour in a shot glass that would contain no alcohol.
Oh, that's a great idea. I never thought of that in all the years I did it, but I will say this for everyone listening: I didn't really condone it. I allowed them to. One or two is cool on your shift because one or two should be fine.
Right,
But don't get sloshed. Don't get hammered. These guys are not your friends. They're here for us to make money.
right,
Be friendly with them. Smile, like I always did, and say thank you for your money. Thank you for coming in. Come back tomorrow.
right. But see, it's like now, it's like here we are. We're older. We're
Yes.
we're supposed to be wiser. I don't know if we are or not. And I mean, I'm
Mm.
sitting here freezing to death still. I don't know why. It's even warmer tonight. It's above freezing tonight. So, and I'm still cold. I'm snuggling with my ghost blanket. Oh, let me see if you can see it.
Oh yeah. I see it.
Got my ghost
Well,
blanket.
eh, you know, we're not smarter today. I mean, I'm sick. Yesterday was garbage day. It's not. It comes on a weird day. It comes on. Well, no, I've been so sick that I didn't get my garbage receptacle or container from the front. Right. I said, man, I gotta go get the damn garbage things in. I hate when people. My pet peeve, as you know, I'm full of pet peeves. I hate when people don't bring their garbage stuff in when garbage is picked up. Well, that was me for 2 days, and you know me, sicker than a dog. I had my sweatpants on and a t-shirt, no socks on, nothing. I remember, and it snowed today a little bit. I remember to get. I remember I have to get the trash cans in, and I go outside barefoot, running through snow, t-shirt, sweatpants, bring them back, 60 feet front to back, and I'm sick. So I haven't learned anything in my 50 plus years on this earth.
There you go. There you go. Well, I do have to tell this little story.
Yes.
My daughter is waiting for stuff to come in the mail for Christmas. She had ordered some
Mhm.
stuff and she's waiting for it to come in. And she had to go out to the mailbox, and check the mail. And it had already gotten dark. It was around 7:30. Now this is just a couple nights ago. And I'll tell you, with everything that's going on lately about these weird things we're seeing and this uptick in all these weird, I don't know, sightings we're having. Um, she I had to stand at the door and watch her walk all the way down to the mailbox with the flashlight and walk all the way back.
Oh boy.
And I mean, it's just like she watches the show every now and again, but I tell her, hey, it is for adults only. Yeah, yeah. I usually tell her after the fact she never watches it live because I can say, okay, you can watch that show or you can't watch that show.
Oh, okay.
Um, um, but
How old is
I
she?
I don't know what it is. She is 14.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, she's 14. So, and I'm like, honey, why are you scared? She goes, Mom, have you seen the stuff around here lately? And I'm like, well, yeah. She goes, I'm scared of it. I don't want anything to do with it. And and this is my ghost hunter. This child is my ghost hunter. Out of all three of my kids, she's the one, and she's not liking it. So I'm like, is there something out there then?
Yeah.
Maybe she's picking up on something that I'm not. It's a
Well,
possibility, I mean, tonight our show is called Midnight Madness and Monsters, and
yes, it is. Yes,
I
it is.
she's believing that there's something kind of hanging close around the house. Now, there's only like 5 houses. No, there's now 4. There's now 4 houses on my gravel road, and we're kind of far apart. We can see each other, but you will not be able to hear anybody if they scream at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're outside, maybe, but inside the house, nobody will ever hear you.
That
So,
reminds me just of a bad horror movie. In the
right.
middle of nowhere, you can scream and no one hears when you scream.
Right. Right. And so she's having an issue being out there at nighttime. I said, but honey, it's only 7:30. She says, but it's dark and I don't care. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's onto something I'm not seeing. But there's dogs around and they usually bark at stuff, but everything when she went out there was like super quiet. Not a peep from nothing. I said, oops, okay.
Mm.
And so I promised her the next time if she has to walk out there in the dark, I will walk with her.
Well,
So
she does take after you though.
she don't want to do it, she'll do it, but she don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, she's still got mama's genes, and we all
Yes.
know Brandi. You
Yes.
like to investigate, and you have that inclination. I
Ye-
shouldn't do it, but I'm going to anyways.
Well, yeah, and I'll do it willingly though. I will.
Willingly, yeah.
You want me to sleep in this abandoned house? Okay, sure. No problem. you know,
Well,
it's
why
it's
not?
fine. I mean, it's fine for me. I think that as she grows that she'll get better at that and she'll come to grips with the things that go bump in the night better.
Mm. Yes, I think, and we're going to talk about a couple things to go bump in the night. We do have a conference coming up. I'm going to wait until a little later in the show to promote that. I was going to do it in the beginning, but we're already 22 minutes into it, and we already got a full house. They're all starting to roll in. Thanks everybody for coming on. And hi, Gemini Moon, my buddy from Michigan, Keith from Michigan's here. Well, you're all my buddies. Thanks for coming in. If I didn't say hi,
Hey,
still love you.
everybody.
Still appreciate you. Thank you, Digger Dog. Hi, Digger Dog. How you doing? Sinfully Wicked. All you guys, thank you so much. Herding Colts, somebody new. Hi, Herding Colts. So if you're new, thank you. If you are new, you're please subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. And so I was kind of under the weather and put together the show. I like to be somewhat prepared. So once I got a Bigfoot story I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna tell it. And I did not, I just slept. Before the show, Brandi, I took about a 2-hour nap just so I
Mm,
could, just because being sick and they say you should sleep a little bit and that helps,
sleep
you know.
more. Yes.
Yeah. So I got one I'm doing for my memory, but I'm going to do one too. I'm probably going to read it a little later, but it's not that long because I didn't have time to memorize that one. But yeah, there's a couple things about what lurks, monsters and madness, monsters and
Oh, yeah.
mayhem.
Yes.
This one isn't. This is kind of I don't know. Well, you'll give me your thoughts. I don't know if it's spooky, but it's certainly strange. And this is a story that takes place. Now this takes place throughout the year of 2016 and 2021. And it was this family that always camped together. And what I particularly like about this is this takes place in Michigan, in a forest up in Michigan. And I'm forgetting the name of the forest or even the county, but it's north of me about 200 miles. And it was his family. Jim Sr., Jim Jr., is his other son. He had a daughter, another son, Tommy, and I believe a daughter, and his wife, Sue. So, anyway, From 2016 to 2021, they would always camp in this same area. Been doing it for years now. He started taking his sons and his family there when they were little boys, not even teenagers. They were maybe 10, 11, 12, getting close to teenage years, and they had a great time out camping together. Always the same camping spot, always the same, they'd go hiking in the woods. They would do their fishing. They kind of like to rough it a little bit. They would actually bring your dried goods, to eat along the, because they would go for like the weekend, 3-4 days, right? And they always prided themselves on catching their food. Primarily, they went in the summertime, and there was a stream and a rivers that ran through their area, so they would catch the fish and bring it back and clean it up and cook it and tell stories at night. But Jim, throughout all this time, especially during these years, these important years, 2016 through 21. But he said prior to 2016, though, Brandi, he was always camping. I mean, he was a camper, a hiker, a fisherman his entire life. But he says for whatever the reason at this location, and he never bothered to change the location because it was just something that everybody was accustomed to in the family. But he was saying, hey, Rob, man, I always had the weirdest feeling, and we've all heard this before, that something wasn't right. It felt like I was always looking over my shoulder type of thing.
Mhm.
There was something maybe watching me, but I'm not sure. But he felt this presence, and he said it was heavy on his mind. So from 2016 to 2021, he just kind of he shrugged it off, and eventually that feeling of being watched went away. So fast forwarding to about 2021, his son's is older. The oldest, Jim Jr., he's now, I think, getting ready to go to college. The other son, Tommy, I think is about 17, you know. And I mentioned there's a daughter. There's no daughter. It's the two sons and the wife, Sue. I'm sorry. So many stories, Brandi. So many. I'm surprised I remember the names. So 2021, fast forward. They're out there at their camp. They're setting up camp, and Jim Sr. goes with Jim Jr. and Tommy, and they're down fishing along the stream. They catch a bunch of rainbow trout or something. I think he says it was. And it was a great day, but Jim Sr. on this day says that, man, I had this really overwhelming feeling that there was a presence, a foreboding presence while they were at the river. And it was stronger than the prior years. I mean, he felt it. Okay. He felt it to the point that he was considering taking the family home. So they catch their fish, they go back to the campsites, give it to the wife to clean up, and Jim Sr. says to Jim Jr. now, who's now a lot older, he says, hey man, let's go for a hike. So the son goes, yeah, Dad, let's go. Tells Tommy, she's like 16, stay behind with mom, help clean the fish. Fine, Dad, whatever, you know. So the dad, the son, the older son, they go out into the woods. And they're hiking 30, 40 minutes into the woods. And Jim Sr. is still getting this feeling, this foreboding, there's something not right here. Jim Jr. tugs at the back of his dad's, shirt or whatever he was wearing. Dad, what's wrong? I can sense you're not yourself. So they stop, they sit down, they take a squat on a log or whatever, laying in the forest. I've got to tell you, son, I don't mean to scare you, or don't tell mom and Tommy, but I just don't feel right. I think there's something around here that's been watching us. Brandi, Jim Jr. Now, this is 2021. Started going camping with the dad 2016 as a younger kid, 12, 13, whatever. Dad, do you know ever since you started taking the family camping many years back, every time I've been at this campsite, I felt something was watching us in the woods. But he says I was a young boy growing up, and I just thought it was my imagination. But I always thought there was something lurking, watching in on us. And his dad now was like, holy, well, son, I've had that same feeling as well since about 2016. So, Brandi, these guys, the dad did not know this. The son never said anything. Younger guy, I get it. So they both have this feeling together, kind of a synchronized feeling. So they just kind of look at each other and they're kind of looking around. Now, I will say they kind of knew about cryptids and Bigfoot, but they're not like we are. They're not researchers. Most people in the world have seen Bigfoot, not seen, heard of Bigfoot. Hell, if you watch, it's commercialized.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they continue on their hike, and they kind of had a cool little bonding, session, I guess. Then you notice a different trail, off trail, that they had never explored. They decide they're going to go off trail on this other trail, being adventurous, yet they're reluctant because they both now have this feeling. And yes, they still feel odd. They feel this odd presence. So they're walking this new trail. They're maybe 50 yards up the trail when they stop. And from the tree line, they see this huge. First of all, they don't see anything at first. I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. They stop because the tree line, because they're on the trail, and in the distance of the tree line, they see these trees, and they are swaying back and forth from the treetop, all the way down to almost darn near the base. And they're swaying back and forth. It's almost like 30, 40 feet of trees just swaying. Jim Sr. says it kind of reminded me. The first thing that comes in his mind is this. Rob, you ever see that movie King Kong? I'm like, yeah. Where you know how you don't see the King Kong, but you see the trees swooshing back and forth. He goes, man, it reminded me of that. And me and my son were looking at this. He goes, Rob, no wind. It's about 11:30 in the morning. No wind. Kind of overcast. And then they hear this thumping. Then they heard like thumps, footfall, and it's getting closer to the brush. The son and the dad, they're not panicking. They're kind of bewildered. They're frightened, yet they're very inquisitive. They're not running. Then all of a sudden, emerging from the forest line, the tree line, he says this ominous shadow, it just appeared at the edge. First of all, the trees stopped going back and forth, and then this ominous shadow appears as the trees stop. He says it was huge. He says, when I'm talking the King Kong movie, he says, I'm telling you this because this was just big and tall and wide. And you could see that it had arms and a leg and it had a head. He says, now look, it was kind of that a shadow cast on it. It was overcast. sun was in back of them or front, whichever way it is, Brandy, to cast a shadow. I'm not
Mhm.
100% on that. But they can tell us his figure. And the son, the dad, they're staring at this in awe yet frightened. And then all of a sudden, during the daytime, kind of, shaded out with the forest, obviously, the overcast. They see these big, also when it opens, is these big saucer-like eyes, yellow eyes. He says, Rob, they were like as big as like melons. And he says, this shadow was, hey, listen, he says, Bigfoot, 8, 9, 10, 12 foot tall, you hear? This thing had been 20 feet, this shadow. And then we see these saucer-shaped eyes open up and peer down at them. Then the shadow kind of turns around, and as it turns around, as a glimpse of sun hits it, and now they can see what, as he says, is like hair, more natural and not as transparent or shadow cast from the tree line. And then all of a sudden, they see him kind of walk back into the forest. And now, as it's leaving, back and forth, the brush. So thank you, Maggie. The
Thank you,
brush,
Maggie.
the brush of the trees, back and forth, back and forth. And then the tree stops swaying back and forth. And then they hear this thunderous roar. He says it sounded like thunder and a howl like thunder. He says it was so loud that it reverberated back at them. They had to cover their ears. It was so loud. They turn around and say, time to get the hell out of here, I think. So they turn around and they start taking off and they start going back towards their campsite, of course, to the wife and Tommy. And as soon as Jim Jr. and Jim Sr. Immerse from the surrounding area to this campsite, Sue, the wife, and Tommy, they start kind of running toward Jim and Jim Jr. Did you hear that thunder? We've got huge storms coming in. But look, it's overcast, but we don't understand. Did you hear that? I don't know. It's so powerful. Is our tent going to hold up? Should we, decide to go home? Jim Sr., Sue, it was not thunder. We don't have bad weather coming in. Proceeds to tell, along with the son, to Tommy and the mom, of what they experienced and what they both, back starting in 2016, were both feeling. And Jim Jr. finally told his dad about, hey, Dad, I'm with you. I've been feeling that for all these years. And, and Sue, the mom, Tommy said nothing. He was still younger. And Sue, the mom, says, I was about to tell you several years ago that I never liked this place and always kind of creeped me out. Then they go on to make the discussions. What do you think it was? This, that, and the other, which we're not going to get into. So, yeah, that's kind of where that ends there, Brandy. And I got to tell you, that was fascinating. Can you imagine King Kong? I'm picturing the King Kong movie and how such a cool movie with the way the trees did that. And we've
Mhm.
all heard the stories about Bigfoot. Hey, 8, 10. The tallest I've ever heard is 12 foot. We know that giants exist today, right? Certainly
Mhm.
not I don't think they exist in Michigan. We don't have the terrain for it. We don't have mountains. Giants, you did a show on giants, I think, last week. Mountain
Mhm.
giants are in the mountains. They're not in Michigan. I'm convinced. But to see that 20-foot shadow, the way the trees were just so easily moved, and for that thunderous roar for the mom and Tommy to hear it back at the campsite, to feel the reverberation, that was something that I'm trying to put my finger on. I'm guessing Bigfoot, Brandy. I mean, what's your
I
thoughts?
well, I would assume it would be that. Um, I mean, the first thing that I have to address is I wouldn't be telling my wife about my experience until I had everything packed up in the vehicle and we were driving home.
I
I
would
would
not
have
do
said,
that either. I would not do that either. Yeah,
I
he
would have
did.
said to her, yeah, it sounds like it could have been a storm. Let's pack up just in case. And I would have been telling her on the way home. I would have not stayed after that. Even though this thing didn't show any aggression, it seems to me that maybe this thing might have known them by seeing them before, known them by their scent or whatever, and decided to say, hey, I don't mind you being here, but you're getting a little too close to my area. Maybe that's why cheese. Oh, there we go. The trees were, swaying a little bit, kind of to give them, hey, I'm over here. Don't come over here. But the other thing is, why would you take your son out for a hike when you're having this gut instinct? You know what I mean? Um, you could clearly feel that the vibration was not right, that there was something terribly wrong, and you continually, year after year. I mean, for 5 years, bringing your family back to the same area when you're continually having these, feelings.
I thought that was odd myself. I would have told the wife for sure when I got back to the camp. I'm not telling the wife that.
No,
I'm doing what you
no.
said. I'm being calm, collective. Yeah, the storm is coming in. Actually, for him, perfect cue to get the hell out of town.
Right. I would have just said, well, maybe let's to be on the safe side, let's,
Yeah.
pack it up.
Then on the ride home, he kind of after you're kind of out of the area.
Right?
Okay, I gotta tell you, honey, this is really why we're leaving.
Yeah,
But
this is why we're leaving.
but now though, great point you bring up, and I was thinking this too. If I've been having these ominous feelings for 5, 6 years, and of course, first of all, regardless of what the son told him on the trail,
Mhm.
why are you going to take your son into a situation where you feel dread?
I, that's my point. Why would you take your child, even though they're a grown adult, but still a young adult?
Yeah,
Why would you do that? Why would you, you know, I mean, unless you're like me, the inquiring minds want to know. I would have done it, but I would have definitely had the conversation with my son before we even left camp and gave him the choice. Like, hey, we can go out and check this out if you want to. But I think if you're having those feelings, I would have not never left the younger child and my wife at camp alone.
no, it's kind of careless, kind of reckless. I mean, kind of. I
Yeah,
would have
I
been
mean,
more worried about, if I'm with my older son hiking, okay, I'm feeling confident with my kid, but in the back of my head, I gotta be worried about my wife and my younger son, leaving
right,
them alone when you're
right.
thinking there's something not quite right going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, it didn't from the story. It didn't sound aggressive. It was kind of like it's just shaking the trees and going, "Hey, this little warning, I'm over here. Just keep your distance and everything will be fine." That's basically what that story was telling me. And it's been watching them, and I think it was just tolerating them from year after year of them camping there. Um, it's it's just
Do
kind of
you
like they were coexisting.
do you think that from 2016, now the encounter happened in 2021, but here's my question. It's just too bad that, we don't have data and stuff like this. Do you think that whatever this was, assuming it's a Bigfoot of some sort or some sort of creature, it was about time where it says, "Hey, don't come back. I'm sick of you folks here." Despite being once a year, and how many people outside of this family is camping that spot,
Right,
you know?
right. Well, you never know, and It could have been, it could have been a black bear for all they knew. And depending on where the sun was in the sky and the shadow it created, I mean, it could have been a black bear easily.
Creating the big
Yes, absolutely. Because
shadows can be distorted depending on the angle of the sun,
that's
cloud
right.
cover,
That's right.
trees, the forest.
And they can shake some trees. So, I mean,
The
it's
only thing, well,
possible.
the guy painted the picture that like the forest is moving. Like when you say King Kong, I'm thinking like the whole 50 trees are doing that thing. And even that wasn't even. I don't think he even did that in the King Kong movie, to be honest. But could have been over exaggerating that part. I don't
Could
know.
be. Could be. And maybe that's what it seemed like to them. But I mean, you get a good sized black bear in Michigan, I know. So, yeah, that's possible. I mean, it's very possible that it could have been something other than Bigfoot.
Wait, well, let me ask you with your encounter, you saw a shadow, right?
I did not. Krista's the one that saw the shadow.
Krista
I
saw
did
the
not.
shadow. Was that
Yes.
that was, and that shadow overtook her tent, correct?
Yes. Because the Bigfoot was in the back of her tent, on the back side of the tent, and the moon was shining up and down on it and then to the tent. So she got a very clear view of its shoulder to almost the top of its head. So she got a clear view of what she was looking at because of the moonlight. I'm sorry, the moonlight. Yeah. So she saw a good amount, which was not human. So, and I only confirmed it by what I had seen. And I didn't get to see any of the real features, like the facial features or anything like that, because again, it was running behind the tents. I'm sitting kind of in front of the tents. The moonlight is coming down on the back of it, so I couldn't see the face. Kind of like if the sunlight's hitting you in the back of the head, you're not really going to see somebody's face. And it's kind of like I didn't get to see all that, but I did get to see the shape of it, and I did get to see, like the hair, and I did get to see, how long the arms were and how tall it was. But I get to see any of the facial features? Absolutely not. I didn't. Hmm. So
I often wonder,
I mean, I knew that it was Bigfoot,
yeah.
but I saw it. She saw the shadow, and it was definitely bipedal, and it was not human, and it was not a bear. So, I mean, because of course they're going to look totally different. So we could see it, but Jim and his son could not see what they were looking at. Really, they were seeing the shadow from it and the trees. That's it. I mean, that's all they could gauge it from.
Do you
So
think?
I wonder.
Well, I wonder too about if a lot of people. Okay, like the guy mentioned, he knew about Bigfoot, but not like as I mentioned earlier, like we are into Bigfoot. Um,
Right. Right.
and we talk about this many times about how you can manifest things. If you're so diehard about seeing a Bigfoot, I can see where people that are looking for Bigfoot
Could
can
manifest that.
misidentify something and convince
Yes.
themselves they saw Bigfoot. Now, with this guy, could care less about Bigfoot, this, that, or the other.
Yeah. He's just
But
totally an outdoorsman.
he's an
Yeah.
outdoorsman,
Yeah.
brings that up, doesn't mention that maybe it was the shadow of a big bear, which I never thought about until you brought it up. Because I always forget, because we always hear these stories about shadows.
Yes.
And I will tell you this, when it's a shadow without seeing it physically, a shadow is a shadow is a shadow is a shadow, right?
Right.
It could be a
Right.
human being hiking. Of course, we have to talk about, the loud roar, the thunderous sound. There's
Right.
no human can replicate that, right?
Right.
Never really heard a bear roar outside of on a video. But because here's the thing, Brandy, back at the camp. Now the thing is, I don't know the distance between how far they were away from the camp. So the wife and the younger son heard this roar as to why they kind of ran forward. Hey, did you hear that thunder?
Hmm.
I don't know. Can a bear emanate a thunderous sound? I suppose it would echo through the woods, right? Again, we don't know the distance between where Jim and Jim Jr. were opposed to their camp where Sue was.
Right.
So they heard something from camp. So apparently, whatever put off the sound was loud. And do you think maybe it was thunder in the background that he mixed identified? Maybe.
No, by the signs of the story and all of, the reports that we've heard and we've discussed and things like that, it does sound like possibly a Bigfoot encounter.
I think perhaps it was.
Yeah, because I mean, it wasn't showing too much aggression. It wasn't, like a bear would do or whatever. Um, I don't know if they experience infrasound or anything like that. I don't know, but it the way that that you get that feeling, yeah, it possibly could have. It possibly could have.
Possibly could have been. I will say that I'll give it a thumbs up that it was.
Yeah, I would say so too. Like I said, it had all the mannerisms of an experience
It did.
with the Bigfoot. Yeah.
Couple things I pick up on. We've been doing it so long now. We know I picked up on the feeling of being watched. Everyone says that.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
big
we get that with a
shadow.
lot of
You
things.
you
I
get
mean,
that.
we get it
Well,
with a
yeah,
lot of things.
you get that with the paranormal.
I'll get that with my daughter's cat. I know when my daughter's cat is staring at
I
me.
get that at Walmart. I'm being watched.
Right, right. You feel somebody staring at the back of your head.
Nowadays,
So,
we're always being watched because everywhere you look up, there's a security camera.
right,
So we're
right.
always
Well,
being watched.
but you're always being watched. But basically, when you have like people and things like that around you, or even Bigfoot, whatever, even the paranormal. I mean, I've gone through haunted houses where I felt like I'd been watched the whole time. But that's just opening up your intuition and letting your body feel that, you know, uh, kind of experience, I guess. That I don't know how to explain it really. It's just kind of like a creepy gut kind of, hey, somebody's watching me, something's watching me. Why do I feel like that? And then you turn around and then someone's staring at you, an animal or person or a ghost. I'm just saying, you
Okay.
know. Yeah, exactly. I get that feeling quite a bit when I go to haunted locations. And that's usually my first thing is like I wait for that feeling and then I'm kind of like, yeah, this place is gonna be really haunted. Because I mean I could walk into places and feel absolutely nothing. You know, a lot of people say, hey, they have like goosebumps or, the hair stands up on the back of their neck or on their arms or, all of those are signs of something there, possibly watching you. So, I mean, we can go different ways with that, but I do think that Jim and his son had an experience and I would have went and told my wife, yeah, let's go. Storm's coming in. Let's go.
That's the thing about this entire thing. I think breaking it down, something happened. I think they saw a Bigfoot. What I don't like is get your family out of there and maybe go back, at a later date and investigate it if you really think it was something.
If you wanted to,
I
right.
think Jim Senior wanted closure. 5, 6 years being washed. What the hell's going on? The son told, "Hey, Dad, I've been feeling it." maybe take the family home and maybe get with your son. He's almost out of high school. Maybe get with your son, or maybe take a buddy and go back and investigate, spend some time and do some research, right?
Right.
Because if you really want to get rid of that and just put closure to it, because I think this guy had no closure, right? And he just kind of just wanted to find out, but
Yeah.
at the expense of his family, I don't know. So we'll move on from that. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It is. I mean, there's a lot that could explain what had happened, but I mean, you'll have to go a long way to explain it with science.
Well, yeah. I
You'd
don't
have to
feel
stretch
well
that
enough.
science.
I don't feel good enough to talk about science right now.
Right,
In
right.
fact, I didn't have enough time to memorize this other one because I hate reading stories. I really do. I like telling them. But I'm gonna read this one. This one is something that I got that never made it into the books. I left this one on the cutting floor. How they say that in Hollywood? Left it on the
Cutting room floor. You
cutting
got it.
room floor. Yeah, I left this on the cutting room floor.
Right.
So I don't really have it in my mind. So I said, you know what, Rob? I woke up from my nap. I said, well, I'm gonna pose this to Brandi in the audience. And this I'll just let you know what you think. So I'm gonna have to read it, everybody. So forgive me. I hate reading. But let me know. Kick back, take a minute, grab your Pepsi, your tea, your coffee,
Water.
your water. I have, believe it or not, I should be drinking. This is a concoction I made up of coffee, hot chocolate, and a dash of espresso.
Coffee mocha. Gotta love those.
Yeah.
I was thinking I should have made some coffee. I should have, but I didn't want to stay up another 5 hours after the show.
I've drank a pot of coffee and I can go to sleep drinking coffee, Brandi. I can. But I drank like a pot of coffee like 2 Saturdays ago and I didn't fall asleep till like 4:30.
Yeah,
I
see,
was like,
right. And I can't just drink one cup. I've got to have like two.
I could drink one or two before night, and like right during this show, I could drink two good sized cups, but not a pot, because I don't. It doesn't keep me up. But I drink a pot, and I'm like, forget, never do that again.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna move on with this because again, I hate reading stuff, but I'm gonna do this anyway. But I'm just gonna get on with this and get everyone's thoughts on this. It kind of starts off nice. Everybody says, "Hello, Rob. I've been a subscriber for some time now." I like when they start out telling me they're a subscriber. I don't know, Brandi, if that's because they want me to, put it out or what. But anyway, this guy's been a subscriber according to him. I did find it refreshing that you welcome all stories, regardless of how far-fetched they may sound, and I appreciate your welcoming manner. So, Brandi, right there is one of the reasons why, when someone starts out with far-fetched, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to continue on because they told me it up front. And again, I
Right.
welcome all stories and I don't judge anybody because you can certainly judge me on my encounter. That's why that's why I do this. This account took place 10 years ago, just outside of Youngstown, Ohio. Rob, as you well know, there are a lot of strange activities in Ohio,
Yes.
particularly in Youngstown.
Yeah.
However,
Ohio is
Ohio and
wow. Yeah. That's all I
Ohio's
got to say
creepy.
about Ohio. Yes.
Ohio's creepy. Michigan's creepy, right?
Well, yeah, Ohio and Bigfoot is like
Yeah, they're
nuts.
like nuts.
Yeah. So
So
this has already got me intrigued.
yeah. Well, however, with this story, I'm not quite sure what this is. Something told me, dog man. Thanks again, JoJo.
Thank you, JoJo.
However, with this story, I'm not quite sure what this is. Something told me Dogman, but I've also heard of werewolves. And again, Rob, this is why this story seems to be almost make believe. This is what happened to me and what I experienced, and I'm going to remain true to my account. I would like to remain anonymous in fear of ridicule, and my employer would not appreciate this being public. Again, and I get all these things. That's why I tell everybody, come on in. Tell me your stories, buddy. I joined a group of people that went on a Bigfoot expedition in Youngstown, Ohio. I'm not even going to go to disclose where this was, whether it is a state park or a national park, national forest, whatever, or even the whereabouts of what it was. You get it. Yes, I do. It was early morning on a Saturday, and we broke camp to explore. There was a group leader and two additional members accompanying us into the woods. There were 7 people that signed up for this expedition along with the group leader and 2 trackers. We went to explore looking for tracks, tree structures, scat, tree breaks, or any of the common traits that Bigfoot allegedly leaves behind. To our dismay, we found absolutely nothing. That morning, we started out about 8 o'clock in the morning to about roughly 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We had decided to head back to camp and unwind, make some dinner, and put together a plan of action before going back out later in the evening. This is where the story goes ever so wrong. After the sun began to set, the organizers of the outing had provided us with a set of night vision binoculars, heat sensory, and FLIR equipment, flashlights, and other essentials needed for the nighttime adventure. I hate to sound redundant, but again, I need to state that we had a total of 10 individuals hiking through the woods. The trail has been overgrown, making it somewhat difficult to walk along as we are all spread out. Some of us managed to walk abreast of each other while the rest of us traveled in single file. Then it happened. The forest grew still and eerily quiet. Some members of our group expressed fear and a feeling of dread. The old dread word, Brandy, the old dread word.
I know it. Mm-mm.
Nothing is casual or exuberant as the feeling prior to hiking earlier in the day. Then, very quickly, ahead of the trail, a creature appearing to look humanoid jumped directly on the trail in front of us. When I mentioned humanoid, it was on 2 feet and stood maybe 7 feet tall. Now, this I will say is the head looked that of a wolf. It really reminded me of that movie from American Werewolf in London. It seemed to stand on the trail for about 5 seconds. Then, in a flash, it sped back off into the trail, disappearing into the tree line. Rob, this is not even the scariest part. The 10 of us gathered together in astonishment. The group leaders themselves even appeared to be in shock. We did not move from our spot and looked around at each other in amazement. Certainly, we had gotten more than we bargained for. Then, we all made eye contact with each other and noticed that one of the party members of 10 was missing. The party of 10 now turns into a party of 9.
Uh-oh.
Terror and bewilderment takes over from our already confused and shocked minds. We must have double counted within the party over and over again and still only 9. We started out to shout out the name of our lost member. There was no return call back. We regrouped and headed back to camp, continuing to call out into the forest. The monster at this point almost seemed irrelevant, as we were more concerned for our lost party member. And frankly, most assuredly, shock had taken over the group. The leaders of the expedition called the proper authorities that night, and search began to find our lost explorer. The search turned up empty until early morning. What we found that morning sent a chill down my spine. In the approximate area where we experienced the creature or wolf or whatever it was, covered in some brush, we discovered a neat pile of clothes. The clothes were nicely folded and stacked. The clothes appeared to be exactly what our lost member of the group was wearing that night. Days went by, which turned into weeks, then months, when finally all rescues were called off. I've reached out to David Pilates about this event. I'm going to leave it at that for now, Rob. I do not know what had happened that night. What did we encounter? What happened to our dear lost soul? We all have heard of werewolves, folklore, fiction, whatever you want to call it. These are stories, right? Are they not stories? I can't believe to this day what happened. I felt as though I lived through a nightmare, but I do know this. Whatever it was, whatever we did see, whether man or beast or supernatural, this is a mystery that I'll always ponder and wonder what lurks in the woods. And hopefully, Rob, you appreciate that I did not give out the name of our lost soul.
Okay.
You know, I've heard similar stories from David Pilates, actually. A lot of these things, I've heard of things like this, Brandy.
Well, I'm thinking maybe you didn't know that 10th person as well as you thought you did.
There you go, Brandy.
That's what I'm thinking.
That 10th person could have been, in fact, not missing at all, could he?
Right. Exactly. And if for some reason they had to change for whatever reason, they knew it. They just folded their clothes neatly, laid them down, and off they went. Yeah, I'm thinking they didn't know somebody as well as they thought they did.
Yeah. Hey, you know,
Oh,
yes.
is that what you're thinking? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking,
Yeah, you know, you know,
I don't think somebody
I
was
don't think
taking it
he's
all.
missing. I think he was
No,
not taken. I think the
no,
man was, I think I think he was a werewolf.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Because I mean, the person just disappeared, just gone. And then they saw that, and then they saw the creature with the wolf-like head. Okay, yeah, it's called the werewolf
Yeah.
among us. A werewolf among us, people. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, you know, and I gotta tell you, you know, as long as everybody's been following this show, if you're new here, you know, we all, you know, we here in our group, we believe in all these things that are possible.
I have seen some very strange things. So a lot of these stories, I mean, they could possibly be true. Absolutely. Because the things that I've seen in my lifetime, yeah, yeah, they could happen. Why not?
I think they could happen.
I don't
Does
even
it
know.
mean does it mean that we're saying this was a werewolf? I do believe that people are shapeshifters, right?
Right?
I mean, First Nation legend or First Nation folks who we've all spoken with believe that that is something that exists today. I believe that. We always believe, Brandon, we've had this discussion. We don't think a human being can physically turn into a werewolf because it would probably kill you. I mean, the human body, the physiology of the body, you
It
can't take
doesn't
that
seem, yeah,
transformation
it doesn't seem scientifically possible.
possible.
Right.
My belief would be this, though, if a person were to turn into a werewolf, they're not turning back to a human. I think they're a werewolf forever.
And that's very possible. Maybe it was triggered by being in the woods at that particular time, that particular night. It could have been the position of the moon. Who knows? But I mean, maybe it got triggered right there, and that was the end of it. That's why they were never found.
Raleigh around, what if it's like a Wendigo, something like that? Yeah, I don't know. I think Wendigo is a little bit different. I
Yeah,
think they eat
yeah.
they they're cannibals. Um,
I mean, you're specifically talking about a shapeshifter because he didn't really give a good description on that wolf-like thing that he had seen.
he did or he
It,
did not.
I don't think he did. I think there could
Wolf
have
like
been.
had yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there could have been more, like the if it had a short snout, elongated snout,
Yeah,
whatever,
no, and I've got
fur
stories where
color.
I've got those. You've heard those. Hey, they go with
Yeah,
the fangs, the alligator snout,
yeah,
wolf like head, this, that, and the other.
yeah. That's kind of leaving a whole lot of description out there.
You know,
Um,
I, but
because if you know, th- a lot of things that I've read about shapeshifters is that they will shift into something, okay, but something is just not right. It's kind of like they can mimic it, but they can't totally complete it. It's just there's something a little off about it. I've heard that a lot. Now, maybe in this case, maybe that was it. I mean, maybe they were missing something, or that's why it's a wolf-like
so,
creature,
but
wolf-like head.
that's
Who
wolf
knows?
like he says.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this too, then, really quickly. The folded neatly the clothes. So let me ask those throwing this at you. They found the clothes of the alleged, well, their hiker and the hiker, the explorer in this expedition. Found the
Mhm.
clothes nicely folded in the area where he allegedly disappeared. Do you think that this person just veered off trail, took off his clothes, put him back, shifted into whatever, runs ahead of the trail, jumps in front, scares them, whatever, disappears. But he didn't go back and get his clothes. He left his clothes here. You think he
Well,
did that to throw him off trail or what?
I'm thinking that it had every intention to go back and get its clothes, but something made it to the point where it couldn't. Perhaps maybe if everybody's running back the same way, running away from the creature, right, and they're running back the way they came, and this thing is chasing them back through that trail. Well, it couldn't get to the clothes, and they found the clothes before this particular man, animal, shapeshifter could get to the clothes. So they found the clothes before he could get back to them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a reason why. I would think that the person had every intention of coming back to those clothes.
So the thing is why, right? That's
Yeah.
a mystery in itself.
Yeah.
And yes, everybody, if you're new or whatever, I am stuffy. I do sound nasally. I'm getting over something. I'm loaded up on over-the-counter medication. Yes. So thanks to all your concerns. Thanks to Maggie. Thanks to JoJo. Thanks to Josh for your awesome super chats. Love you guys. Thanks. So yeah, that's the question. And
I'm thinking
what was
that they
the
had every
reasoning?
intention. They had every intention of coming back to them clothes, but just by the time the clothes were found, it was too late. They couldn't come back. They just had to go.
The thing that I thought about, the guy mentions Dave Pilates, somewhat toward the end of that.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of Dave Pilates stuff before. The 411, I'm very intrigued by that.
Right.
And with missing people, certainly not as elaborate as a shapeshifter or werewolf, but kids or adults that have come up missing, they'd find their clothing, but not in the area where the alleged disappearance. A lot of times you don't know if the disappearances took place, but they would find the kid or the hiker's clothing folded neatly by a river or somewhere miles away. And I've heard that. And so when I was reading this, that's what I first was drawn to because I remember hearing these stories
Hmm.
about missing 411 and how they would find the missing people's clothes several miles from the alleged disappearance location. So initially, that's what I was thinking. But my first thought was just like yours, Brandy. The guy ain't disappeared nowhere.
No, no, no. I think that they just didn't know him. They didn't know what was going on with him. They had no idea. And the clothing thing, well, you know that they to shift, they've got to get away from, everyone else to shift.
Well, yeah, they're not going to shift. Well, I
Because
don't
who
think
knows
they're
how
going to.
quickly they can shift.
Yeah, I know that's interesting.
I mean,
You
I
know,
don't
we.
know.
I mean,
I don't
okay.
think it. You could say it was instantaneous that they can shift, but is it? How do we know?
All we can go by is what we've seen in Hollywood, right? We've all watched the werewolf movies.
Right. Yeah, where it
How
takes
they,
like
like
3 minutes for a werewolf to
they go
change,
through
right?
all this, and
Right,
then the
right,
really good ones show the actual,
right.
with the advancements in technology in Hollywood, excuse me, and all that, has prolonged that process. I remember you saw Lon Chaney Jr. The werewolf, the Wolfman,
Right,
black
right.
and white.
Yeah,
How he's just like and then they just do that.
right.
Ugh.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to think about it because of the shape shifting part. Because I mean, Michigan was I would say it was heavily occupied by Indian tribes at one time, and there's still a bunch up there. There's still a lot in Michigan at this point. And you're talking about 200 miles north of you, so that would probably put that in the Lenape area. So, and they were steeped in a lot of mystic type things, the histories and all of that kind of thing.
Well, yes, and I'll tell you this too. 200 miles north of me, and I did something on this. I talked on this briefly. Even Wexford, Michigan is tribal. A lot of it's cursed land.
Yes, Well,
Cursed land.
they say all these reservations and all these things that the government had given them is cursed.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
You got to think about that because a lot of land that these reservations are located on are, especially in the West, are barren. There's it's not really good land at all. It's not good for farming. It's not really good for much.
No, I mean you're absolutely right. And farming is a big thing
Yeah,
that has been allegedly cursed, where you can never farmers can't grow. They go barren, gone out of business, not been able to do anything for the last 100 years in some
right,
areas.
right,
There's some parts out west that I read that cannot grow anything,
right.
and they cannot figure out why.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's just kind of like the shape shifting thing. Well, belonging to an Indian tribe and stuff like that, I'd be kind of mad about what they left me.
Absolutely. I would cast a curse if that
That's
happened
right.
to me.
That's
Damn right,
right.
damn right, I'm throwing down a spell.
Exactly, because you know that a lot of tribes were like nomads. They just kind of moved around and basically following the food, that sort of thing. And they went from all this beautiful um, places with lots of resources, and then they were put on these lands that are pretty much barren. So would you be mad and maybe, call upon being a shapeshifter? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, that would kind of make me mad. So I get it.
it would make me mad. And again, I think the conclusion with this story, I think that was a shifter, a werewolf, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Person's not missing. That is not a missing 411 case. And Brandy, boom, you and I were on the same wavelength with that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Brandy, being that I'm not feeling myself tonight, I had something else. I didn't have enough stuff to share with you guys because my throat is like killing me. However, though, being the trooper that I am, thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks everybody for coming on in. I don't miss shows. I do my unless I'm out of power or if my internet goes all bonkers on me. We got something that's coming up that we've got to market and promote. And I'm going to put this up right quick, Brandy, because I have to go blow my nose. I don't want to do it on air. I'm going to put up this little flyer and I'll be
All
back
right,
in
I'm
2
gonna
minutes.
right. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it real quick, while he blows his nose. It's the Crossing Realms Conference. Now, this is September 19th and 20th of 2025. It's the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. We're having a meet and greet on Friday. We're having a conference on a Saturday and Saturday evening. We are having a ghost hunt that evening with all of our speakers are coming, and it's going to be a fantastic thing. If you need tickets, you can go to Eventbrite, look under Blondes and Booze, and it should be right under there in the Crossing Realms Conference. Just look for this poster. This poster is right there on it. I think it's the thumbnail for it. We have great speakers. We have special guests attending. Well, also, I wanted to say the ghost hunt tickets are selling out fast. We only have 8 left as of today. That is it. And they've only been on sale for less than a week. So
Ugh.
if you've not got your ghost hunt tickets, go ahead and get them now because you can always get your conference tickets later. But get those ghost hunt tickets now because once they're gone, they're gone. We're not making room for anyone else. There's just going to be,
Yeah, I think we got about 8 tickets left last I heard,
yeah,
something like that.
we got 8 tickets left. For Friday night and Saturday, we're talking a $60 ticket for both. If you want VIP seating, it's $50. I'm sorry, it is $50 for Friday night and Saturday. If you would like VIP seating, it is an extra $10 for Saturday. And it's just wow. It's just wow, everybody. So go get those tickets. We had Mr. Greg Goggles, who was in chat with us earlier. He is going to be there. Lady Ann Celine, Ron Murphy. We have Haunted Souls and Haunted Garage, which are bringing a haunted vehicle, which this is the first for me. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
seeing a haunted vehicle.
Yeah, haunted vehicles. I think a
Yeah,
Cadillac is one of them. Cadillacs I find haunting anyways, especially
yeah,
the older model Cadillacs.
right. And then we have William Lunsford, Valk, Arkansas, that's his area, and he's a fantastic guy. And he's just a great person to talk to, so he'll be awesome. I don't have everything out in front of me now, but we do have Ken Gerhart will be a special guest attendee.
Yeah.
We have Dana Stricker, who is a psychic medium and UFO experiencer, who is going to be a guest attendee, and Brett Thomas from Paranormal Portal will also be there.
And of course, you mentioned we'll all be there. All of us gang.
Oh, that's a given. We're all going to be there. There's going to be so many people there. There's just going to be so many. You're not going to be able to turn a corner with it without running into one of us.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you covered it. I was off, tooting my horn. Chris Jordan's going to be doing a technical and doing interviews with people. And I believe that, I don't know if this is true.
And don't forget, we have Heather Mosier from Small Town Monsters is going to be there too.
Yes, Heather.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sponsored by Doug Hijack, a Monster Quest. Whether he shows up, that'd be cool if he showed up.
Yeah, we need to bug him about it.
Yeah, I been contacting him. He's interested. He's certainly supplying a bunch of advertising for us as well, which is great. So we've got some well-known people. We got some not so well-knowns, but most they've been doing it for a decade. All these people. That's a cool thing. They all provide experience.
I know. We even have Dr. Dean Bertram going to show up. So,
yes.
I mean, we've got people with PhDs showing up. So, if nothing else, they are knowledgeable and very interesting. And also, we have Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor is going to be there speaking for us and all this other kind of stuff. It's just going to be absolutely amazing. So, whatever you're into, whether it be cryptids or UFOs or the paranormal, we're going to have it. We're absolutely going to have it. So that's why Rob, he's like, hey, Crossing Realms. We're like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So Crossing Realms kind of covers all of, the genre of what we're going to be talking about.
The Crossing Realms Conference. I like that. I must admit, I like that.
Mickey in chat said, I got both sets of tickets for Brandon's birthday. That's fantastic.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's so sweet. Looking forward to seeing you again. I'll probably see you before that. Probably before
and
that.
also, I'll be bringing my books 1 and 2. And if you want to come on down, I'll be selling those, and we'll be selling merchandise. Well, Brandi, another cool thing is, I guess we got truck vendors will be there selling food on site, so you don't have to go venture too far if you want to save a little money. But we're having the little dinner thing to meet everybody. What I love most about these conferences, I'm glad I'm not speaking, and I'll tell you why. I like to be one with the people, We got great speakers. You don't need BMR. You don't need Brandi. I mean, Brandi, great speaker. All of us guys. I love the community. I love the people that subscribe to our channels. I consider everybody. I don't like the word fan, right? I think they're just a part of what we do, and with the people in the chat room, the people that are watching now but don't participate in chat, We've got a little over. We had up to 70. We have back to 70. It's 78 people in chat, and there's 309. 309. As I just pull it up, or now there's 309 other people watching, guys. Thank you. I love you guys too. You're watching wherever you're at. Thank you, and the people that watch the replay. Thank you. But getting back to what I was talking about, I love shaking hands with the people that help us grow, because without the people, Brandy, we wouldn't be doing shows.
Oh,
If we
gotcha.
turned
Yeah.
up with 5 people in the chat room, 15 views after doing this, as long as we've done it, we would do something else, right? And I mean, let's face it, the driving force behind what I do every day is the people. It
Yeah.
is the
I don't know.
people.
You're right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I do anything else. I mean, it's just like FaceTiming your friends. It's the
Well,
same
we
thing.
would I tell you what, I will retract that a little bit since I've met you and Krista and Tex years ago.
Mhm.
We would probably do something regardless.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
is
we
the
do it
fact
because we
that
love it.
I
We
like
do
the
it because we
fact
love
that
it.
do you know that between all of our channels we have an audience of well over 20,000. If
Yes.
you take all of our
All
that's
of
pretty
our,
we've
yeah.
it's hats off. We've done a hats off to everybody out there. It really has.
Mhm.
And but what I was
Right.
getting back to once again, I'm losing my mind here. I love talking with you guys in person. We could BS, have some dinner. I'm
Right.
gonna be down there early Thursday. I think I'm gonna fly in early and just get a day start, just to do whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't
because
know.
if you go to the conference early, there's a lot of Civil War sites, a lot of historical things to go see. Um, and you're not that far from Kansas City. I mean, there's a lot of things to do if you would like to do them ahead of time. If you want to make it a little
Yeah.
vacation of it, it is right there and available. It's like fall. Thank you, Diane. It's going to be
Thank you,
fall,
Diane.
so the leaves will be turning. It's just going to be absolutely beautiful through there. It is. So, I mean, why not? Why not?
And I like the fact that it's kind of an indoor outdoor thing because I love the outside, and I'm guessing Missouri is gonna be crisp, but I bet you it's gonna be beautiful. And you're right, the leaves will be changed. It's gonna be a very
Yeah.
beautiful scenery. So
Yes.
it's really gonna be something to go to,
Right.
and
Right.
just hang out with nature, and again, like you said, something for everybody. Cryptids, UFOs, paranormal, great people, great times.
Yeah.
You know, share stories, get to meet you guys, for the first time, a lot of you. Because
Yeah.
every time I go to an event, I love the people hanging out before, after, whatever, during the conference. I'll be walking
Mhm.
around like last year with my camera, doing some
Right.
YouTube stuff like we did last year. That's fun stuff. That's a lot of fun
Right.
for me.
I don't mind speaking at other people's conferences. I don't mind that at all. I'll do it. I'll do it every day of the week.
I
But
will
I don't
speak.
like speaking at your own.
I'm not
Don't speak at your
speaking
own.
at my own either. It's our
Yeah,
conference. We're putting it on.
that's right.
We are inviting guests. We will be there as the hosts and hostesses
With the
w-
mostesses.
with the mostesses,
Yes,
hanging with you guys, our loyal supporters.
exactly. Exactly. And that's where I'd rather be, honestly.
Oh yeah, you guys hear me talk, 3 days a week. You don't need to see me on stage. I'm going to talk with you personally. So is Brandy, Krista.
That's
Tex will
right.
be the MC, master of ceremony, so that's his gig. But yeah, so this will be an incredible event, and I think it's going to be an event that other people just don't. They're not doing quite what we're doing. It's unique in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Anyway, I
I
think we
think
should we
we
should
covered
let
it.
you go to bed.
We covered it pretty well. Apologize for sounding nasally. I can't really talk now. It's all those over the counter drugs.
I think they're finally hitting their mark and it's time to go rest your body.
I think so. I think I'm getting close. I
Mhm.
just have to what I'm going to do, Brandon. Oh, see, I found it. Look, I'm getting better. I found the exit. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks for the super chats, the support. It's Sunday morning. We won't be back until Monday. Well, you got anything going on Sunday? You guys don't do nothing
Yes, I
Sunday,
do.
do you?
Truth or tinfoil. Truth or tinfoil. Check us out on that channel. It's myself and Randy Gilbert, where we deep dive into any type of evidence that is out there about paranormal cryptids, UFOs, anything else, and we try to break it down to figure out if it's truth or tinfoil.
Always a good show. If you're new here, subscribe to the Blondes and Moose Paranormal Podcast, Bigfoot Mr. Rob, Texas Front Porch.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you know what? You know one thing
Johnny
I wanted to
Chase.
say
Yeah.
real quick.
Say
One
you
thing I
go right
want to
ahead.
say.
Go right ahead.
Go right ahead. We have Dave Schrader. Dave
Oh,
Schrader will be on the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast next Thursday night at 8 p.m. If you don't know who Dave Schrader is, I bet you do. You just might not recognize the name, but you do know who he is. He does all the spooky ghost stuff on the Travel Channel, Discovery, plus all of that stuff. And he is going to, I am so excited. I don't even know what to do with myself. But make sure you tune into Blondes and Booze
well,
Paranormal
that's
Podcast,
well,
8
that's why
p.m.
I have my alert bell turned on, Brandy. You
I
don't miss
know.
these shows. And since you brought that up, I've got a great guest Tuesday night at 9 with Krista. We have Shane Corson from the Olympic Project, 22 Bigfoot nesting areas and the actual nest made by Bigfoot.
Oh
Allegedly, of
my gosh.
course. Yeah, we are going to do that on Tuesday. The guy's been doing this for so long. The Olympic Project, Shane Corson, Tuesday night. That's me a fantastic show as well.
Oh my
Alert
gosh.
bells. Yes.
I'm glad I don't have a show on Tuesday. It's the only night I don't, but I'm glad I don't because now I can tune into that.
Yeah,
See?
that'll be fantastic. Yeah, a lot of great shows coming up throughout the week, leading up
Yes.
into of course, Christmas season.
Woo-hoo.
So thanks for tuning on in. Like, if not already, on your way out. Subscribe if you're new to our channels. Love y'all. Have a great weekend. I'm going to
Take
go
care,
to
everybody.
bed. Thanks, Brandy. We're out.
All right. Good night, everybody.